Prajita Bharti joins us today, founding partner at THQ Consulting and Young Leaders for Active Citizenship. Dr. Gitanjali Kumar is here with us. She's a practicing psychologist and parenting coach. Mansi Zaveri is also with us. She's the founder for KidStopPress.com and conscious parenting coach. Bharti, let me come to you first. You mentioned a little while earlier that this is not the first mention that screen addiction has got in the economic survey, but perhaps the strongest so far. For the chief economic advisor to actually mention that these advisories and self-regulation is not enough, many would say paves the way for India to open up itself to regulation, and a very strict one at that.
Absolutely, Sonal, and I think one of the things that we have been seeing that after Australia sort of banned children up to 16 to access social media, this has been a conversation that has been discussed globally. I think we are also seeing this in India. We saw that Andhra Pradesh government and Goa government have also made some announcements that they will explore how that ban is panning out. However, I think we have to be careful in India because we have a huge digital divide. I, in fact, hope that the economic survey would have actually looked at the economic cost benefit analysis of having access for a lot of people in India. Key to access to internet means social mobility. My organization has worked with more than 47,000 young people in rural areas and low income communities. And we see that, in fact, children are CTOs, like chief technical officers of their families, right? So cutting them off may not be the best from an Indian perspective. However, I do think that we need some other sort of, nudges, regulation, etc., to help platforms develop better products for young people. And I think we can look at age appropriate design, codes, etc., that the industry can work on.
Yeah, but let me on that point bring in Mansi Zaveri. Mansi, the survey actually has a very interesting anecdote. It mentions that internet connections have surged in India, of course, but 85% of the households that own these smartphones, the maximum of them are using it. 43% use is only of social media. So the entire conversation that while we are getting smarter, they're supposed to make us smarter, right? The smartphones, the engagement is not happening to actually make you smart. The engagement is happening to make you addicts and become consumers online and become customers online.
Right. Sonal, if I may add to my former speaker's point, let's understand India is a shared device
Yeah.
market as well. While we may be the highest penetration of smartphones, it's very important. And I've been in many rooms where we've discussed digital safety for young adolescents. And I think a large part of the concerns that came out of a lot of NGOs that are working with social challenges in marginalized communities also came from the fact that in India, a smartphone is not one smartphone per person. It is often a shared device as well. So today, are we then restricting it without regulation? Right? I think let's not take a very elitist approach. Like, let's look at Australia as a country, right? Very, very early. But Australia is 25 million, 26 million people. That's the population of Mumbai, right? We're at 21 million. Right. So it's very, very important that we have not only that one Australia, but we have so many 28 other states and 8 different union territories worth of population to manage. So one is to understand how is India planning to regulate it. Second is to understand that it is not one device per person. Also, I think self-regulation now is being used as a Instagram throwaway word where we all understand it, but we don't want to do anything about it. If adults are not being able to regulate, how are we expecting children to regulate it? When we do a lot of workshops, even on screen time and digital safety for children, parents don't want to sometimes adopt those practices, even though there are baby steps being made in this direction. But parents want to not create accounts which are made in the name of their child. Parent is very happy to hand over the phone to the child and use their profiles and their phones to the children as young as 4 and 5 and 6. So my point is, when we adopt this, let's be very, very smart about how we want to adopt it, and not from a fear of missing out perspective. Like the BBC pointed out that Australia did do the ban, but online gaming escaped Australia's ban, social media ban, which was very, very critical. Today, we just read the
Yeah.
news the other day about how a 15-year-old child in New York never came back home because he met some guy through Roblox. So my point is, when we're going to do this, we have to understand the economy size at which we're operating, how this is helping our children, how this can be implemented, and it's not just a frivolous application that we want to sort of impose onto people, because there
Absolutely.
are challenges in our country and we need to
Yeah.
work around those challenges.
Very important points made both by Mansi and Aprajita over there. And I think what we're looking at is effectively saying that there is no one India. There is India 1, India 2, India 3. What applies
Absolutely.
to India 1 does not apply to the other two, and we have to have a very wholesome view of that. That's why a blanket ban or a blanket advisory or whatever restriction you might want to call it does not really apply to all, which makes this problem really hard for people to really, grasp and to deal with, which is why a public issue or a public ban or restriction does not really work here. Then what does work, Dr. Gitanjali Kumar? Let me come to you. You are interacting with parents on a daily basis, and let me talk about India 1 first, okay? Parents like me who are struggling, whose job is to be on the screen, but my job back home is to ensure that all screens are shut down, right? How are parents dealing with this? Is this at least a wake-up call for them to say that, listen, you've got to mimic. You've got to eliminate screens from the homes for kids to adopt that as well?
A very pertinent question, I must say, but definitely parents, it is a wake up call for parents. Parents really need to be empowered to deal with their children. If not with phones, then what? The earlier times when we were reading out books to them, when we were reading stories to them, when we were modulating our voices and creating the different characters through our sounds and actions, children were hooked through that. One story could continue for a month, where the characters could change, their names could change. Matlab, there was engagement of a child with an adult. Now the phone is going to do it. The stories and rhymes are coming through the phones. Somehow parents will have to realize that parenting is a fully responsible job where they will first have to grow up and actually realize they are parents, and they will have to shun their temptation of just scrolling the phone. So when we find the parent who's awake at 4 a.m. and he's watching some screens, watching some reels, do we think that parent will have the gut and the courage and the intent to hold back the child from using the phone? Lot of guilt in the parent. Oh, my child cries a lot. My child doesn't have a playmate. My child doesn't have a playmate, so the phone becomes a playmate. Please, I am counseling a mother where I'm teaching her how she can say no to her child. Because the child who is in class 7 throws a tantrum. Oh, we live so far away from school. All my friends are so far away from here. We don't have neighbors of my age. So what do I
Oh,
do?
kids know
Please
how to
give me the
negotiate.
mobile.
I have a 2-year-old and I can tell
So
you they know how to
helping.
negotiate very, very well. And let's not go down that road. But I have last few minutes and I want to quickly get in a word from Mansi and Aprajita both. But Mansi, to you first. We are looking at a situation where, like I said, it is, I read this somewhere the other day that being a millennial parent is like the toughest job on the planet of late. You're dealing with a generation which is born into tech. You're also a generation which has seen, the last one, which has seen life before screens. And you are dangling constantly between trying to meet up with the expectations at your work front with screens and at the home front doing just the opposite. Is there a mantra? Can you leave us all with a mantra on what to do?
You just said this, and I keep telling this, that I think the society expects women women, especially moms, to work like they're not parents and to parent like they don't work, which is the big dichotomy of our generation, right? But I would say that I am not somebody who's all for ban. I am first bond and then ban, right? And I'll say this why, because it's very important to please understand that if you're going to just do blanket bans without any regulation, if you're not going to draw boundaries, if you're going to have this doglapan, as I, when I do workshops and I have a screen time course online, I keep telling parents, if you're going to say you're going to be on a screen and you're going to tell your child don't be on the screen, it's the biggest
But it's an
hypocrisy
online
that you're.
course, Mansi.
Yeah, but
it's,
I have to take it to
it's an
upgrade
online course.
myself to know when to
Yeah,
say no. So if you're going
yeah,
to
yeah.
fear that I'm going to say no, and and that's going to ruin mine and my child's relationship, that's absolutely rubbish. You need to make sure that those boundaries are drawn very carefully. You are watching what they are consuming. I strongly believe in co-watching and not having a screen time ban. I don't think that exists in our households. Next up is following who your children are following. We've seen the case of adolescents where there is your
Yep.
influencers such as Andrew Tate, etc. Kids are following, and our parents are completely oblivious to who their kids are following, who's shaping their philosophical, their religious, their spiritual, their daily belief system. It's not the parent, and we've seen that in more than enough cases. So I totally say that. Please make sure that you enable the right screen time tools onto your child's devices. Again, talking of India 1, I'm not talking of India 2
Yeah,
and
yeah,
3
yeah.
at all here, because I don't think that they have that luxury of doing that.
Yeah.
And I would also say that be very, very wary of what your child is asking you. And I will tell you this, that the problem does not lie. And I'd love to state this one example very explicitly. There was this one conference that I attended where porn is not only seen on the phone. Porn is also handed out as newspaper tear outs in a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 schools of India, where there's this man outside selling candy, and he's actually giving it to the children in that piece of porn paper. So my point is, अगर आपके बच्चे ने आपसे कोई सवाल पूछा and you did not answer that question, he is going to go back to the internet,
Yep.
and that internet is
Yeah.
going to give him answers you don't want. And we've seen even in classrooms, we see kids being bullied and abused through Google Docs. Now, who would have thought that Google Docs is going to be a device? To me, the bigger ban comes in terms of online games that our kids are consuming, because to me, that's a bigger addiction. Kids don't land onto social media first, they land onto the repetitive videos and online games first. So to me, that is a bigger addiction process. I mean, Neiman's has
Got
just
it.
started a
Good
screen
point
time
there.
addiction
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
So I would say that
That's a good
let's
point over there. I have
evaluate.
last 1 minute. That's why I'm butting in, because I want Aprajita to leave us with her mantra as well. She's also been working with a lot of young folks. So what is your mantra, Aprajita? How do I do it as a millennial mom who's struggling? Like I said, my job is to be on the screen and the job at home is to stay away from screens.
Absolutely. So, Sonal, I think because there has been a lot of pressure, a lot of platforms have made family centers and parental controls. And as Mansi was also saying, I think it's very important for parents to educate themselves and use those tools as well. But I do want to say that, I don't have a mantra for the parents, but I do want to I have a mantra for the policymakers. I think one of the things that this economic survey has done is that it has reframed this problem as a public health problem. And it
Correct.
has also flagged that we do not have data from India in terms of what are the actual mental health effects. Unfortunately, a lot of studies that are quoted again and again are from the global north, where everybody has a phone in their hand. We have shared device usage. We have to see already what kind of parental control is happening in terms of access control of the device itself, even if it is
Yeah,
not happening on the platform. And
yeah.
we have to take a measured approach according to that. And just one last thing I want to flag is that India has already passed the Data Protection Act, and it will come into force within 15 months. That already says that we need verifiable parental consent for all children who are under 18. That is going to get implemented in 15 months. I think we should wait for that rollout, see what the impact of that is, and then take a call if anything else needs to be happened. happen
Well,
as
the
well.
ethical hackers in the gaming industry are not very happy with that act. So there are, everybody has a bit of a miss and a hit over here. But we'll talk about that some other day. For the moment, thank you all for joining us. And so can I just point out, when we were looking for experts to talk about screen addiction, we only find women. So that's why you see the full screen of of having all women. That's how invested they are in the system. So that's a clue for everybody else to pick up from as well.